So what we assume to be true or known by our listener or reader is called a presupposition. It's like a background assumption that we make when we communicate. For example, when I say, "Your brother is waiting outside," I'm assuming you already know that you have a brother. That's the presupposition behind that statement. When we use referring expressions, like pronouns or specific nouns, we usually assume that our listeners can recognize which referent we're talking about. So if I say, "The book is on the table," I expect you to know which book I mean. This idea connects to a bigger theme in language use. We design our messages based on what we believe our listeners already know. We don't just say things randomly. We tailor our language to fit their knowledge and assumptions. Understanding presuppositions helps us see how communication relies on shared background knowledge, making conversations smoother and more effective. Let's take a look at some common questions that often involve presuppositions. For example, when I ask, "Why did you arrive late?" I am presupposing that you did arrive late. It's a subtle way of embedding an assumption into the question itself. Similarly, when I ask, "When did you stop smoking?" I am presupposing two things. First, that you used to smoke, and second, that you have indeed stopped smoking. These questions are powerful because they carry assumptions that can influence how someone responds. Now consider the question, "Okay, Mr. Buckingham, how fast were you going when you ran the red light?" This presupposes that Mr. Buckingham ran the red light. It's a way of framing the question that assumes the fact, which can shape the conversation and the responses that follow. Understanding these presuppositions is crucial because they reveal how language can subtly influence perceptions and discussions. Recognizing these can help us communicate more clearly and ethically, especially in persuasive or investigative contexts. So, what we're talking about here is something called constancy under negation. It's a really interesting concept in presupposition theory. Basically, it means that even when two sentences have opposite meanings, the underlying assumption or presupposition can stay the same. For example, if I say, "My car is a wreck," the presupposition is that I have a car. Now, if I say, "My car is not a wreck," the negative version, the presupposition remains the same, that I still have a car. The fact that the sentence is negated doesn't change the underlying assumption that I own a car. Another example is when someone says, "I used to regret marrying him," but then adds, "I don't regret marrying him now." Despite the change from regret to no regret, the presupposition that I married him stays constant. The core assumption doesn't change just because the verb's polarity changes. This idea of constancy under negation is important because it helps us understand how certain assumptions or background knowledge remain stable, even when the statements themselves flip between positive and negative forms. It connects to the overall theme of how language communicates not just explicit meaning, but also underlying assumptions that persist regardless of how sentences are phrased.